You're listening to the Cyberwire Network, powered by N2K.
And now a word from our sponsor, SpyCloud. Identity is the new battleground, and attackers are exploiting stolen identities to infiltrate your organization. Traditional defenses can't keep up. SpyCloud's holistic identity threat protection helps security teams uncover and automatically remediate hidden exposures across your users, from breaches, malware, and phishing to neutralize identity-based threats like account takeover, fraud, and ransomware. Don't let invisible threats compromise your business. Get your free corporate darknet exposure report at spycloud.com/cyberwire and see what attackers already know. That's spycloud.com/cyberwire. A joint operation takes down Luma infrastructure. The FTC finalizes a security settlement with GoDaddy. The TeleMessage breach compromised far more U.S. officials than initially known. Twin hackers allegedly breach a major federal software provider from the inside. U.S. telecom providers fail to notify the Senate when law enforcement agencies request data from Senate-issued devices. DragonForce makes its mark on the ransomware front. A data leak threatens survivors of domestic abuse in the U.K. Lexmark discloses a critical vulnerability affecting over 120 printer models. Our guest is David Holmes, CTO for Application Security at Imperva, with insights on the role of AI in bot attacks. And scammers ship stolen cash in Squishmallows. It's Thursday, May 22nd, 2025. I'm Dave Bittner, and this is your Cyberwire Intel Briefing. Thanks for joining us here today. Great to have you with us, as always. A joint operation by U.S., EU, and Japanese authorities, with help from Microsoft and other cybersecurity firms, has dismantled the infrastructure behind Luma, a major info-stealer malware. Also known as Luma C2, the malware has infected millions of devices since 2023, stealing sensitive data like passwords, credit card info, and cryptocurrency wallets. Luma was sold via subscription, making it easy for even low-skilled criminals to exploit. The FBI tracked over 10 million infections and estimated $36.5 million in credit card thefts in 2023 alone. Microsoft identified nearly 400,000 infections between March and May of this year. The operation took down about 2,300 domains and disrupted communications between infected devices and Luma servers. Developed by a Russian actor known as Shamel, Luma has been marketed on Telegram and used in phishing and malvertising campaigns. The FBI warned that while this takedown is a blow, Luma's operations may attempt to rebuild. The Federal Trade Commission has finalized an order requiring GoDaddy to bolster its security after years of data breaches due to weak practices. The agency found GoDaddy lacked key protections like multi-factor authentication, proper software updates, and threat monitoring, leading to breaches between 2019 and 2022. In one case, attackers installed malware and stole source code after years of undetected access. Under the new order, GoDaddy must not mislead customers about security, implement HTTPS for APIs, ensure software and firmware are updated, and set up a robust security program. The company must also add MFA for all users, including non-phone options, and undergo independent security assessments every 2 years. GoDaddy must report any data exposure incidents within 10 days. While GoDaddy says it's already making changes, the settlement includes no admission of fault or fines. A hacker breach of TeleMessage, a government-used messaging service based on Signal, compromised messages from over 60 U.S. officials, far more than previously known. Reuters reviewed a cache of leaked data provided by Distributed Denial of Secrets. The material revealed intercepted chats from FEMA, Customs, the Secret Service, U.S. diplomats, and even one White House staffer. Though much of the data was fragmentary and not overtly sensitive, it included travel-related discussions for senior officials. TeleMessage, little known outside federal circles, became public after a Reuters photo showed former Trump National Security Advisor Mike Waltz using the app. The service, which archives encrypted messages for compliance, went offline May 5th. The breach raises metadata-related counterintelligence risks, experts say. While some users confirmed message authenticity, federal agencies have offered little comment. The White House acknowledged the cybersecurity incident but didn't elaborate on its use of the platform. Elsewhere, Signal Desktop has added a new screen security feature for Windows 11 to block screenshots and protected chats from Microsoft Recall, which captures app screenshots every few seconds. This setting, now enabled by default, uses a DRM flag to prevent content from appearing in Recall or similar tools. Signal made the move after Microsoft relaunched Recall despite prior backlash. While the setting may impact usability and accessibility, users can disable it with a warning. Signal urges OS vendors to better support privacy-focused apps. Bloomberg reports that OPEXis, a software provider for nearly all U.S. federal agencies, suffered a major cyber breach in February caused by insider threats. Twin brothers Munib and Sahib Akhtar, both convicted hackers. Hired as engineers despite their past, they allegedly accessed and deleted sensitive data across multiple agencies, including the IRS and GSA. The attack disrupted key systems and permanently erased records, including FOIA requests. The FBI is investigating, and federal agencies are reassessing contracts with OPEXis. A Mandiant report revealed serious security lapses, including improper access during termination and file exfiltration, contradicting OPEX's public claims. The breach exposed the vulnerabilities in contractor vetting and data security within government IT systems. Under contracts established in 2020, major U.S. telecom providers, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile, are required to notify the Senate when law enforcement agencies request data from Senate-issued devices. However, an investigation by Senator Ron Wyden revealed that these carriers failed to implement such notification systems, leaving senators unaware of potential surveillance activities. One carrier even admitted to providing Senate data to law enforcement without the mandated notification. Following the investigation, all three companies have begun complying with the notification requirement for Senate-funded lines. Nevertheless, significant gaps remain, particularly concerning personal and campaign devices, which are commonly used by senators but fall outside the scope of current protections. While AT&T and Verizon limit notifications to Senate-issued lines, T-Mobile has agreed to notify about surveillance requests on personal and campaign devices flagged by the Senate Sergeant-at-Arms. Senator Wyden urges his colleagues to consider switching to carriers like T-Mobile, Google Fi, US Mobile, and Cape, which have policies to inform customers of government surveillance demands whenever legally permissible. DragonForce is a rising ransomware group reshaping the threat landscape through aggressive tactics and strategic repositioning, Sophos reports. First appearing in 2023 with a standard ransomware-as-a-service model, the group rebranded in March of this year as a cartel, offering affiliates flexibility to use its infrastructure while branding their own campaigns. DragonForce has targeted both IT and virtualized environments and reportedly teamed up, if contentiously, with the prolific Ransom Hub group. This included defacing rival leak sites and a potential hostile takeover of Ransom Hub's infrastructure. In recent attacks, DragonForce-linked malware was used by Gold Harvest, also known as Scattered Spider, a decentralized cybercriminal collective known for social engineering, MFA bypasses, and use of info stealers. Attacks on UK retailers, including Marks & Spencer, highlight their threat. As internal feuds destabilize ransomware networks, organizations must reinforce social engineering defenses, monitor credentials, and strengthen incident response to withstand unpredictable attacks from increasingly flexible and chaotic cybercrime groups. A cyber attack on the UK's legal aid agency has exposed sensitive data of over 2 million people, including survivors of domestic abuse, raising fears of imminent leaks. The Ministry of Justice confirmed that anyone who applied for legal aid since 2010 could be affected. Compromised data includes addresses, national IDs, and contact details, potentially revealing the locations of confidential women's refuges. The MOJ has refused to pay ransom and is preparing to contact vulnerable individuals, prioritizing abuse survivors, asylum seekers, and trafficking victims. Refuge, a charity supporting abuse survivors, warns the breach could escalate abuse campaigns, including harassment, impersonation, or tracking survivors. While a court injunction has been issued against the data's distribution, it's unlikely to deter cybercriminals. Refuge is working to identify at-risk individuals and urges anyone affected to contact legal advisors immediately. Lexmark has disclosed a critical vulnerability affecting the embedded web server in over 120 printer models. The flaw combines a path traversal and concurrent execution issue, allowing remote attackers to access unauthorized files and execute arbitrary code. If exploited, this vulnerability could let attackers fully compromise affected Lexmark printers. Users are urged to update firmware to mitigate the threat. Coming up after the break, my conversation with David Holmes from Imperva. We're discussing the role of AI in bot attacks, and scammers ship stolen cash in Squishmallows. Stay with us. Compliance regulations, third-party risk, and customer security demands are all growing and changing fast. Is your manual GRC program actually slowing you down? If you've ever found yourself drowning in spreadsheets, chasing down screenshots, or wrangling manual processes just to keep your GRC program on track, you're not alone. But let's be clear, there is a better way. Vanta's trust management platform takes the headache out of governance, risk, and compliance. It automates the essentials, from internal and third-party risk to consumer trust, making your security posture stronger, yes, even helping to drive revenue. And this isn't just nice to have. According to a recent analysis from IDC, teams using Vanta saw a 129% boost in productivity. That's not a typo, that's real impact. So, if you're ready to trade in chaos for clarity, check out Vanta and bring some serious efficiency to your GRC game. Vanta, GRC, how much easier trust can be. Get started at vanta.com/cyber. Worried about cyber attacks? CyberCare from Storm Guidance is a comprehensive cyber incident response and resilience service that helps you stay prepared and protected. A unique onboarding process integrates your team with industry-leading experts. So if an incident occurs, your response is optimal. Get priority access to deeply experienced responders, digital investigators, legal and crisis PR experts, ransom negotiators, trauma counselors, and much more. The best part? 100% of unused response time can be repurposed for a range of proactive resilience activities. Find out more at cyber.care/cyberwire. David Holmes is CTO for application security at Imperva. I recently caught up with him for insights on the role of AI in bot attacks. So today we are talking about the 2025 Bad Bot Report. Can we start off here with some high-level stuff? What prompts the creation of this report every year?
We do this to bring awareness to the, say, problem of malicious automation. People who run popular websites are very, very familiar with this problem. But your average Joe on the street has no idea that day after day, this sort of hidden war is being fought across every website that they go and visit on a regular basis. And so part of it is a tribute to the defender.
Well, let's talk about some of the details here. Can you give us some of the groundwork here on exactly where we find ourselves with the bot situation?
This past year was the first time in over a decade that automated traffic, or what we call bot traffic, actually surpassed human-generated traffic. So 51% of all traffic in the previous year was automated, and 37% of all traffic was malicious automation. So if you think about it, that 37% is translating almost to 80% of all the automated traffic is malicious, leaving only about 20% being what we call good bots, like web crawlers, search engines, etc.
So help me understand, David, how artificial intelligence is part of the game now when it comes to these bad bots.
The number of accessible AI tools has significantly lowered the barrier of entry for cyber attackers. So on the simple end, for say your first-time script kiddie, it's even easier for them to create a malicious bot, right? They just have to write the right prompt, get a bot. So we actually see that in our data where we categorize the sophistication of the bots that we see, and we blocked 13 trillion connections last year. So we see a ton of these. Then the percentage of bots that were basically simple self-identifying bots, it might be like attacker tool 22x, increased to nearly 45% of traffic. And on the other end, the advanced attackers appear to be using artificial intelligence to further refine their attacks so that they're becoming even more effective. And they also are at about 45% of the automated attacks, leaving kind of the middle ground to be a very, very small 10%. So we're seeing, just to say it again, we're seeing AI at both the simple end of the spectrum and at the advanced end of the spectrum.
Can we talk about some of the common evasion tactics that you all are seeing here? What are the bots doing to try to stay under the radar?
This is a daily grind where as soon as let's say you're being attacked by a persistent attacker, as soon as you figure out, here's a fingerprint that I can use to identify the queries coming from this particular kind of bot, as soon as you start blocking on that fingerprint, they know, they figured it out. And now they just go back and figure out, what did we change recently? So it's not so much as a individual evasive technique being particularly effective. It's just this constant retooling on their part to be evasive and ultimately continue to evade your fingerprint so that they can continue conducting business. And the reason why this stuff is so persistent is because this is a business for them, right? If they're reselling your shoes or your hotel room reservations or whatever it is that they're monetizing, every time you block them, they have a financial interest in figuring out how you blocked them and then evading it.
One of the things the reports highlight is how bad bots are exploiting APIs. Can we dig into that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. Remember when I said 45% of the malicious automation out there is what we categorize as advanced, right? It's evasive. It's trying to fly under the radar. Of that traffic, about half of that is specifically attacking APIs. And we expect this trend to continue, right? Partly it's because targets they are attacking have APIs exposed somewhere, and it's just easier for them to say go directly machine to machine for their attack. And also a lot of the targets out there that have, say, high value digital assets, maybe a bank account or airline reservations, they will already have some kind of defense in front of their website and maybe not so much in front of their APIs. And in our report, the very end of the report has recommendations. And one of the recommendations is, hey, it's time for everybody to start evolving their API security because this trend we're seeing is only going to get worse.
Well, let's talk about some of those recommendations. I mean, you mentioned API security, but what else is on the list?
So other recommendations that we have in our report are, one is to implement risk identification, understand the value of the assets that you have, whether or not they might be under attack. For example, if you're not monitoring, which is another recommendation that we have, of course, you might not know that there, might be 1 million probes a month trying to figure out, is the particular web property that you've put up there worth attacking in the first place? Another one is using automation as a defense, right? And this is where the war becomes the attacker using automation and the defender using automation. And that's just the nature of the game. It doesn't mean that you can solely rely on automation, that you can't solely programmatically have a set of scripts or an AI defend against the human attacker, because the human attacker is a human and also using scripts and AI.
Well, based on the information that you all have gathered here, where do you suppose we're headed? I mean, what's the future with the bots themselves and the mitigations against them?
Great question, Dave. One of the statistics that we saw in this year, I want to highlight this to make a point, is in the last 12 months, we saw the travel industry under attack more than the retail industry. And one would be tempted to say, or to extrapolate and go, that means that we're going to see more attacks against travel in the future. But I've been in this business a long time, and sometimes trends can just be, I don't want to say anomalies, but they can be local, right? Maybe it was just this particular year. However, that said, another one of the statistics that we saw last year was attacks seem to be happening all year round now, where that was true before, but they would definitely spike seasonally around things like Christmas or the summer travel season. But we saw a much smoother graph of more automation over the last year. So I think as it becomes easier and cheaper to launch attacks and continue to launch attacks, we're not going to see as much seasonality, and we're just going to see more and more malicious attacks.
That's David Holmes, CTO for Application Security at Imperva. And finally, the DOJ has thrown a sizable legal book at a 27-member crypto crime ring accused of scamming over $250 million globally, proving once again that organized crime has gone digital and decadent. Leading the charge is 20-year-old Malone Lamb, who allegedly finessed 4,100 Bitcoin from a DC crypto tycoon using nothing more than fake Google alerts and a convincing tech support impersonation. His alias? Anne Hathaway. Of course. Lamb and partner in fraud Jean-Deal Serrano, who went by Versace God, reportedly turned their loot into a luxury lifestyle. Lambos, G-Wagons, $68,000 a month rentals, and nightclub tabs bigger than most mortgages. Meanwhile, the gang, recruited via online gaming, had roles ranging from hackers to real-life burglars, even smuggling cash in Squishmallows, stuffing up to $25,000 inside each toy for stealthy shipment across the U.S. Even after arrest, Lamb allegedly kept the crime spree alive, buying his girlfriend Hermes bags from behind bars. The moral? If someone offers crypto advice under a celebrity pseudonym, maybe don't share your MFA code. And that's the Cyberwire. For links to all of today's stories, check out our daily briefing at thecyberwire.com. N2K's senior producer is Alice Carruth. Our Cyberwire producer is Liz Stokes. We're mixed by Trey Hester with original music and sound design by Elliot Peltzman. Our executive producer is Jennifer Iben. Peter Kilpie is our publisher, and I'm Dave Bittner. Thanks for listening. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Hey everybody, Dave here. I've talked about Delete Me before, and I'm still using it because it still works. It's been a few months now, and I'm just as impressed today as I was when I signed up. Delete Me keeps finding and removing my personal information from data broker sites, and they keep me updated with detailed reports, so I know exactly what's been taken down. I'm genuinely relieved knowing my privacy isn't something I have to worry about every day. The Delete Me team handles everything. It's the set it and forget it peace of mind. And it's not just for individuals. Delete Me also offers solutions for businesses, helping companies protect their employees' personal information and reduce exposure to social engineering and phishing threats. And right now, our listeners get a special deal, 20% off your Delete Me plan. Just go to joindeleteme.com/N2K and use promo code N2K at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/N2K, code N2K.